All right. Well, welcome everybody. Hey, we are back for another session inside of our 30-day Grow My Profit Challenge. We hope that you've been enjoying the content so far. This is the third session in the total of 6 sessions that we'll be doing as a part of this 30-day challenge. And we're excited to get a chance to kick things off today. So Jeff's here as well. And Jeff, welcome to today's session.
Hey, thanks, Dave. Excited to
So
be here.
yeah, we're excited that everybody is joining us either live or if you're watching a recording, we'd love to see your feedback in the comments or in the section of whatever you're watching this, whether you're watching this online or whether you're looking at it inside of a Facebook group. We'd love to see your feedback and your takeaways from the session. For those of you that don't know who we are, Jeff and David Bush, growmyprofit.com. We really are growth partners for business owners that want to scale their business 2 to 10x in the next 3 to 5 years. So we partner strategically with entrepreneurs and business owners of all kinds, depending upon your business and the size of your business. Determines kind of how we partner with organizations. So if you have less than $1 million in revenue, we have a virtual group platform and we do challenges like this as a way to support those new budding entrepreneurs that are growing their business. Or if you have a lifestyle business, we'd love to be able to provide you with resources and tools and strategic thoughts and strategies to grow your business. And then if you're a business that does over $1 million in revenue, we will do one-on-one consulting with you and partnership with you. And we also have some opportunities to partner with businesses on a select basis. We'll partner with businesses and actually do consulting for equity. We'll actually partner with businesses that want to scale, but would like to also have growth partners that are really strategically involved in helping them to grow their business, but may not have the resources to pay for those high-level talent, CEO, COO, CRO, CSO, executive type level professionals on a full-time basis. We can partner strategically with businesses on a fractional level. So that's who Jeff and I are. We're excited about walking you through these 6 steps. And so our 6-step process is going to be a simple process for individual business owners to grow through. Today, we're going to be focusing in on step 3. We have already done assessing your capacity to scale 2 weeks ago. Last week, we did business plan, and I'll put a link to all the recordings with the description of this video, or I'll put it in the chat for those of you that are watching live. But excited to jump into marketing. This is one of the most popular topics that we always get questions about. And if you have arrived and you're here live with us, we'd love to see in the chat message any questions that you have on marketing. Just as a quick recap for those people that don't know what the 30-day challenge is that we're offering a free online business assessment and business coaching and growth strategy sessions so that we can really walk you through the 6 steps and really help you to decide what would be the best next step for you to grow your business. We provide a digital business optimizer. I'll put that here in the chat here, and I'll put a description. I'll put the link in the description of this video as well. And then we're doing our daily profit building tips inside of our group, where we have all of our challengers in participating and sharing feedback and updates. And then we give our challengers access to the online virtual learning platform that we like to call Scale University, which is our learning management system, where all of our content, videos, resources are all stored, and you can be a part of that Scale University as a part of the challenge. This is what Scale University looks like. It's located on a platform called School. Some of you may be familiar with it, but there's a community platform. There's also a online course resource section where we break down all of our content and our interviews with extraordinary entrepreneurs, and then all of our recordings for our challenge are located in the classroom course section. If you clicked on one of these individual courses, it would break down and provide you more detailed resources with videos and downloadable links. You can see down here our financial scorecard tool, which we'll talk a little bit about today. But there's lots of different resources in the platform, and be happy to walk anybody through that if they have any questions after today's session. We're doing our 6 weekly sessions, 2 hours per week. We may not go a full 2 hours today, but depending upon questions, we want to make ourselves available so that you can get your questions answered. Our goal in this whole 30-day challenge is to provide education and resources and tools to help business owners to build out their plan so that they can get into implementing their plan and growing their business. So we're providing 6 2-hour sessions during the 30-day challenge. and working through the steps at a very accelerated pace. You can also access our calendar where we have all of our event details, and all of the events get sent as a reminder to all of our members of our Scale University and the challenge. So you should be receiving emails with reminders with the login details. And this is the breakdown of the courses. So this was 2 weeks ago. This was last week, the business plan workshop. Today, we're going to be talking a very full agenda on what we're going to be talking about today with our marketing workshop. And then the next 3 weeks are going to be focused on sales, leadership, and operational systems. So hopefully you'll keep plugging in to the future sessions as well. We also have an opportunity for a grand prize. So people that are interacting and providing feedback in our group, we're going to give them an opportunity to participate in an upcoming mastermind retreat where we're going to be bringing people to Jeff's house and in the 40-acre ranch in Southern California, and providing an opportunity to do that at no cost. So please be as active and as engaged in the 30-day challenge as possible if you'd like to be part of that prize drawing. So let's jump into it, Jeff. This is a topic that you have a lot of passion and enthusiasm. You've spent the last 30 years of your life working on marketing and helping other businesses do millions and millions of dollars of marketing. And there's definitely some things that we're going to talk about today that could probably be a session all by themselves. So we're really going to do kind of a flyover, but based on your 30 years of experience when it comes to marketing, what are some of the most important things that business owners need to fully understand when it comes to marketing?
Let me start by saying something that I just heard like a year ago, and I'll never forget it. One of the marketing geniuses that I follow, that I've read all their books, took all their training, Dan Kennedy's one of them. He's just an amazing guy that taught me so much. I was part of the Dan Kennedy mastermind for years. And then Jay Abraham, these guys are both in their 70s. They're kind of fading a little bit, but they're still, sharp guys. And I've read all Jay's books. I spent $25,000 to hang out with Jay Abraham for 3 days last summer. And it was just, oh my God, it was amazing. I read his books. I used to make my 20 salespeople read these books and study them so that they became better salespeople. So I don't know which one of them said it a year ago. I wish I should remember. I remember the saying, but I don't care who said it. It just resonated with me. And what it was is, all's marketing makes it easier to sell. And I'm like, oh my God, that's a great description. It's so short. All these years I knew that, but I never heard it said so simply. Like sales is everything, revenue is everything. But if marketing makes it easier to sell, good marketing is going to increase sales, right? But I remember I was the VP of sales and marketing, and I was a $300,000 a year W-2 job in the 90s in my, was I late 20s? I'm making 300 grand a year. And I remember thinking, I'm the VP of sales and marketing. This is great. But honestly, like the sales portion of that job paid me 250,000. The marketing part of that job paid me 50,000. You go into any company today, the VP of sales is always making more than the marketing person. So let me just make this clear. Sales is more important than marketing. But good marketing, if it makes it easier to sell, it's important too. It's a close second, but it is second. And I owned a marketing company. I did $20 million. I collected $20 million to go do marketing for 10 of the top 20 mortgage companies in America, Loan Depot, Quicken Loans. These are my clients. So I owned a marketing company, but I still know my role. Marketing's less than sales. But if it can make it easier to sell, let's throttle up the marketing. So when I owned my mortgage company from 2000 to 2007, 1 year I spent $2 million on marketing. And I think I've told the story before, but my CPA freaked out. What are you doing spending $2 million on marketing? Most mortgage companies spend $20,000 a year. I'm like, yeah, but Fred, look at the bottom line. I made $2 million. I spent $2 million. I made $2 million in my pocket, 2005. The next year I spent $3 million in marketing and I made $3 million. But all the marketing I did was direct mail marketing. I'm mailing 500,000 letters at 50 cents a piece. I'm spending 250 grand a month on marketing to make it easier to sell. So these calls are coming in. I'm getting 1,000 calls a month into the building. I've got 30 loan officers just sitting there answering the phone. Hello, you want to get a loan? Here's the interest rate. And it made it so easy to sell. That's how I did 100 loans a month. So marketing, and that's how I made $3 million in 2006 was the marketing spend. So I'm passionate around marketing, but I know sales is more important. And I just want to make that clear because every salesperson, I've had salespeople that made $1 million working for me. You know, like, I want to get into the marketing. I'm like, cool, here's $75,000 a year salary. Go take that job. Oh, wait a second. You're making $1 million a year because you can sell. You know, don't take the marketing job. So not to depress marketing, because like I said, I'm a marketing guy and it's important, but it's not the most important. It's just the end result is higher revenue. It's raising your revenue in your company. If and I've said this before, the year I spent $2 million on marketing and I made $2 million, I talked to a friend of mine. He goes, Jeff, I made $10 million this year. I'm getting ready to buy a professional sports team. I'm like, really? Like, in the same business as me, started at the same time. I was embarrassed. But what'd you spend on marketing last year? He goes, $10 million. I'm like, holy crap, we make exactly what we spend. And if you look at the lifetime value of a customer, you know, my insurance guys that sell insurance, they're like, I'm not spending $500 to get a customer. That's all I make. Well, how long do your customers stay with you? 10 years. So will you spend 500 bucks break even the first year to make $5,000 over the next, and to go from doing, you know, 100 clients a year to 1,000? Have you ever heard of a company called Geico? Warren Buffett owns it. What did they spend on marketing last year? You know, $300 million. Do you guys know the Geico, the lizard? Have you ever heard of that? Let's see. How did Geico make it? Huge marketing spend, insanity. And most people just can't even fathom that, you know? So, anyways, not to go on a tangent, but yeah, you hit a sore spot. Spend money on marketing, make it easier to sell, but you better have your sales team ready. They better be closing deals. You can go bankrupt spending money on marketing. You know, go down to the Temecula Chamber of Commerce and spend $500 on an ad and see how many customers you get. You know, me, zero. I spent $30,000 in marketing the chamber, the B&I club, the networking club, hired a salesperson to do all that lead generation, follow up with the, I lost my ass. I made no money. It was a joke. The referral and the networking is different than direct marketing, lead generation. I want to spend $1,000 and get 10 phone calls into my building, and I want to close 2 customers, and I want an ROI on that marketing today. I'm not doing this whole branding. Oh yeah, let's spend $1 million. Let's go on TV and let's all go bankrupt. It's a joke. So I like marketing that's going to put money in my pocket like in 30 days. We're not
Mhm.
doing a branding campaign. I'm not going on TV. You know, don't redo my logo and act like that's going to change my sales. It's not. So, you know, I'm big on direct marketing, cost per lead, cost per sale, um, ROI, you know, what do they call the new one? You know, is it ROAS, ROAS, return on ad spend? Okay, they got all these new words for it. It doesn't change. How much did I spend? How much did I make? We're going to test 10 things. I'm going to spend $1,000 on 10 different things for 10 grand, and 7 of them lose. And the 3 that win, we're going to scale them up. We're trying a lot of things in small increments so we don't lose our ass, but we're going to ramp up the one that works. Most everything I've ever done in marketing absolutely failed. But the 3 out of 10 that worked, dear God, it made me millions of dollars, right? So we're trying different things. Anyways, I don't know if that's a
Yeah, that's
introduction.
good. So again, there's marketing strategies that are going to work for some businesses that may not work for others. And so what we're going to do today is we're going to walk through some ideas and strategies that have different flavors to them. So hopefully you're going to find the one that you're going to be willing to test and you're going to be willing to refine, which again, marketing is not an event, it's a process. And Jeff would tell you that, you know, how he got it down to wasting less money is that he continued to refine his list. He continued to refine his messaging. And so if you're not committed to that process, you're going to throw away a whole lot more money than the person that's actually committed to working through the process. So I did just put this in the chat message, and I'll put this in the description of for the recording as well. The link to our business optimizer, which is our Google Sheets workbook. And you can see it here on my screen. I put the link in the chat that you can download a copy of this. But the way that this system works is that you open up the master copy, and then you can click on File, and then you can click on Make a Copy. And if you have a Google Drive folder, you can save a copy and you can make all the edits. It's your version, but this is a view only version. So you're going to want to make a copy. And if you don't have Google Drive, where you can actually save things in the cloud, you can go to download, and you can download it as an Excel document, or you can download it as a PDF document, and you can just print it out and write answers in a formal fashion. But there's a section down here. You can see that there's tabs down here at the bottom. We covered already these tabs in our previous session. So you're going to want to scroll over using this little arrow. And we're going to start off on ideal client profile. And on ideal client profile, there's 15 questions that we ask to help you to clarify your target market. So Jeff, I want to talk about that from your perspective, because a lot of business owners don't really have a clear description of who their target audience is. And one of your big factors in marketing is the quality of knowing who your target audience is and knowing where to reach out to them or where to find them. So you want to talk a little bit about the quality of your list or the quality of your target audience?
Yeah, I mean, I think good marketing is all about the list and the offer, and you can't pull one away from the other. People are like, oh, 80% list, 20% offer. I can have a great list and a crappy offer, and it's not going to resonate. It's not going to work. I can have a crappy list with a great offer. It's not going to work. They're literally married together. So if you can't identify who your customers are, you're in big trouble. Don't go spend money on marketing. I'll give you a great example because it happened this morning. This is crazy. I own a wedding venue. Okay. We bought this place 3 years ago. They're doing 5 weddings a year for $10,000, 50 grand a year in weddings. You know, last year we finished the year, we did 68 weddings, $1.1 million in revenue, $18,000 a wedding. I am building this little business to $2 million in sales. So it'll make 500 grand a year. You can come visit. You can look at my scorecard, look at my sales and marketing. We went from getting 10 leads a month to 150 leads through marketing. But this morning, somebody called me and said, Jeff, we own the website, TemeculaWeddings.com. We think you should buy it for 5 grand. We have 5,000 unique visitors every month on this website. So everyone's all excited. Jeff, write the check, write the check. I'm like, hey, the 5,000 people visiting that website, half of them are bots, half of them live in Uganda. I'm like, is that our list? Is that brides that are on that website? Oh, wow, I never thought of that. Well, you better think about that. If I buy a website and I spend 5 grand on marketing for this amazing website, Temecula Weddings, wow, you know, it just seems like a great fit, right? But if all the traffic is crap and it's not brides wanting to get married, horrible investment. And so I just responded to the person and said, how many of the 5,000 visitors per month are brides? They're not going to know. That's the list. That's the audience. If I can, hey, if 4,000 of those people are brides, I'll pay 10 grand for that website. Let's go. I'm going to close on it tomorrow. I'll let you know in the next week whether it ends up being BS or not. It probably is, you know. So there's a good, that happened to me this morning. The audience, I need to find brides. Where do the brides go? I went out and did all these bridal shows, spent $20,000 last year. I get to the bridal show, bride comes to the booth and goes, oh, we already picked our venue when we got engaged 6 months ago. I'm here for flowers and the DJ. I'm like, crap, we're at these bridal shows and we're late to the party. This is not good. And the only way I know that is I sit at the booth and ask brides, did you find a venue yet? Oh yeah, we signed 6 months ago, 3 months ago. I'm like, okay, I got to go to the engagement ring store and sign a deal. Because when you get engaged, you haven't picked your venue yet. But from the time you get engaged, if you're setting a date out a year, so there's some examples of like real live, like I'm in the wedding business now. These principles we teach, the 6 steps, sales, marketing, ops, I don't care what your business is. Weddings, which is B2C, selling mortgages, 100 loans a month and escrow and real estate, B2C. But my B2B business, the big one I sold for 8 figures, selling junk mail to mortgage companies, same thing. You still have a list and an audience. If you don't figure out who that is, and I would tell you 80% of business owners have no idea who their audience is. They think they know and they're making guesses, but to go buy a list of who's most likely to buy my product, to look at your current customer list and go, who are these people and what are their titles? And if it's B2B, if it's B2C. So yeah, I spent a lot of hours figuring out who my audience was. There was 100,000 mortgage companies in America. I had narrowed it down to there's only 1,000 of them that'll ever buy my product. And I spent some time narrowing that down and I got that list. I had 20 salespeople calling 1,000 people. Do you know at the end of 3 or 4 years, 500 of those people were my customers? And if I would have gone after the 99,000 that'll never buy my product, I would have been wasting my salespeople's time with no results, no revenue, people quitting, turnover. I identify my audience, whether it's brides or people with a lot of credit card debt that got to refinance their mortgage to pay off their credit cards. That was the mortgage game in 05, 06. It was the mortgage game for the last 3 years too, right? Pay
Mhm.
off your 20% credit cards with a 3.5% interest rate. So it doesn't change. B2C, B2B, so important to identify your audience and to be listening to your customers and find out, who they are, what they want. I always say good data is good timing. I got to show up at the right time. So timing, I think, is who needs your product right now, or who's going to need it in 3 months, who's getting married in 12 months. You're looking at this audience with deep lenses, and it's a deep dive that's just so important because once you identify it, now you can go after it. And I don't care if you go after it with direct mail, email, Google ad spend, Facebook, Instagram, telemarketing, all those channels can work. But once you find your audience, you can go on attack mode and attack them from all angles. And then I guess maybe then it's called branding, but I hate the word branding. I'm not big on branding. You've never heard of any of my companies before. And they made millions and millions of dollars because I did lead generation. I did not do branding. And I don't care if you remember my name 5 years from now, make the phone call. We're going to sell you. I'm going to get money out of you. And we're driving revenue. That's how I built all four of the businesses that I built. It's not the only way to do it. Tesla spent zero money on marketing last year. Think about that. Ford Motor Company spends $800 for every car sold. 800 times, 5 million cars. And what was it? $400 million ad budget. Tesla's ad budget is zero. Why? He built such an amazing car with all the tech. I'm not an electric car owner, but I can appreciate, I like Elon Musk. He built such an amazing product that became his marketing. His marketing is engineering the first good looking, reliable electric car, but no marketing money. It's amazing. He puts 400 million in his pocket because he doesn't have to spend. I know because I called him. We want to sell you direct mail. And he said, we don't have a marketing budget. I'm like, what are you talking about? Elon Musk? But he put it all into tech and building a car and came out at the right time where he didn't need marketing. He might be spending money now. We'll see. Um, Anyways, long answer to your question, but
Yeah, let's get some feedback. I'm curious to know on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being you are 100% confident and competent at knowing your uh, target market, knowing who your target audience is. If 10 is the best, most confident and competent you could be, and one's not confident, not competent, how confident and competent are you on knowing who your target audience is? And do you have some of those answers as you scroll through the questions inside the Business Optimizer? Is it the first time that you've seen those kind of questions? Because it forces you to think. It forces you to answer a question that you may never have been asked. And therefore, you probably have been taking more than 50% of your ad spend or 50% of your time focusing in on reaching out to the wrong people. So Augustine, thanks for sharing. JW, thanks for sharing. Vivian, appreciate it. Um, so anybody have a question as it relates to target audience that would help them to move their score closer to a 10? Because we're not going to get you to a 10 today, but if you have a question about clarifying your target audience, what would you say would be a question you'd love to pose? Anybody have anything? You can put it in the chat, or you can just unmute yourself. Marshall and Vivian, you had the lowest score and you were the most honest about where you're at, or maybe everybody was honest, but you were on the lower side. So Vivian, can I call on you and just ask you, what questions do you have to move your score to a 6, 7, 8, or 9?
So we work in AI and it's something that everybody needs. However, I'm still trying to decide and figure out who can actually pay for it. And it kind of plays in the IT part of things, and then it also plays in the operational side of business. So yeah, I'm still trying to understand that. That's why I said 5, because, and I always end up talking to CEOs, CIOs. That's who I talk to, but it's how do I target them? And, I don't know. So yeah, I'm still learning.
Yeah, let's just go through some of the questions. So the demographics that best describe your ideal client: age, gender, income level, education. Do you have an answer to that question? Would you have a general idea of
Um,
who the
in
person
my
is?
experience, most of the people that are open to it are a little younger.
Okay,
The older they get, uh, they're so not aware of what it can do that they're not open at all.
yeah,
So younger, gender, no, it doesn't matter.
okay.
Income level as far as business, is that what you mean?
Income level from their personal income, like what would be their standard income? Like if you were to describe the perfect introduction to somebody that you know that you could absolutely crush it with, who would I be looking for? Going back to this visual of
Hmm.
what was on the screen, this is what I find that most people have as a target audience. It's this big question mark and this, I don't even know what this person looks like. So if you could describe the
Hmm.
ideal client profile of the person that Vivian would absolutely knock it out of the park with, who am I looking for?
I know, and I'm thinking about some of my biggest customers, and they're kind of all over the place. Some are
Look for the similarities, not the differences. Look for the similarities. What would you, well, first
one
I would say that
similarity
they're
is
United States, they're in the United States, I would
they're in the
assume.
United States,
Okay.
and they're C-level
Sea
people.
level. Okay.
Mhm.
What's their
And they
age
CIO or
typically?
CIO or CEO? Just let me clarify. C
both.
level, both. So CEO says you better get this Salesforce to integrate with QuickBooks, makes the CIO do it. CIO reaches out to you, but that's a $10 million company, not $1 million company. If it's a million
Right.
dollar company, CEO's doing it themselves, right?
Correct.
So you
Correct.
got to look at
Yeah.
like, okay, big companies, we're going after the CIO. Small companies, $1 million in revenue, we're probably talking to the founder, owner who wants to get this
Who
done,
wants to
probably
do it?
isn't a tech
Yeah.
guy, you
And
know.
the CIO is usually very apprehensive to talk to me because they're afraid that
You're
I'm
gonna
going
make
to
them
come
look
in and
bad.
yeah,
Yeah.
because AI makes you very transparent.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So it's been interesting. Like, it's been very interesting. They
You know,
usually,
there's,
as far as money, I'm sure they make 6 figures at least.
you ever gone to the website Built With? Have you heard of Built With? It's really an
No.
interesting, they're out of Australia, and what they do is they scrape your website and look for what code you have on your website. And
Oh,
they
okay.
called me and go, hey, I see you have Salesforce and QuickBooks, but they're
Uh-huh.
not integrated. It told my whole story. I'm like, holy
Wow.
crap, this guy knows what tech I'm using on my website. They scrape
Yeah.
your back into your website and they look at, who's using Salesforce, who's using a WordPress website. It's like the whole back end. So companies like that Built With was like $250. And I bought his tool and went out and
Uh-huh.
found customers that had broken websites that I could fix without going into
Right.
great detail. If anybody's using this code, that means they're a buyer and I want to talk to them. Um,
Hmm.
I went down to Austin, Texas to the SaaS conference. I spent like $4,000 and spent 4 days in Austin like a month ago. And there was one story from stage, the guy that owned Eye Contact. You guys
Okay.
all do email marketing, right? probably everybody on this Zoom does email marketing. I use SendGrid, Vertical Response, Constant Contact, MailChimp. Those are my 4. Well, this guy was owned iContact. I've heard of it, never used them. He goes, here was my marketing plan. He goes, Constant Contact was kicking my ass. So what I did is I found the 10,000 customers that they had and I opted into their email. So when they sent an email through Constant Contact, I got it. And I simply replied to the email and said, I see you're using, Constant Contact for your email marketing. I'll do it at half price. He onboarded 1,000 customers at half price. 6 months later, moved him to full price. This 35-year-old kid built iContact to 50 million in revenue, just sold it for $150 million. And that was his marketing plan. I'm like, dear God, that's pretty, a little gray area in my opinion, but it worked and there's nothing illegal about it. But he opted into 10,000 emails, took the time to do that, or did it in the Philippines, cheap labor, who knows, right? But I'm
Or
like,
used AI.
what a marketing plan. Yeah, today it'd be AI. This is 7-8 years ago, probably before AI got so, but yeah, what you can do with AI now, you can build these lists, in with cheap labor internationally. Anyways, I found that fascinating. What a great marketing plan. He identified the 10,000 people that were doing email marketing, opted in to get their emails. So he's getting all the emails and then just replied, I'll do this at half price. I'm like, wow, that blew my mind. And that got him his first 1,000 customers. So you've got to think out of the box a little bit sometimes to identify this audience. But if I sell email marketing, my audience is anybody who does emails. Well, that's most people, but maybe you go after the big ones, So,
Yeah, and as you're
yeah, I don't
getting
know.
started, it might be helpful just to niche down a little bit closer, a little bit smaller, just to be able to build that relationship and start. Because if you set your ideal client profile as a $10 million business or a C-suite level employee of a $10 million business, that may be a hard appointment to get when you're a brand new upstart and you haven't necessarily built a name. You don't have a lot of social proof. You have a great idea and a great service, but they don't know you, like you, and trust you. And you don't know anybody that they know, like, and trust. So you're going to have a longer sell cycle to build a relationship with that individual. So it might be beneficial, Vivian, to start thinking about who are the second degree connections of those CIOs or those people that might be a decision maker in a C-suite employee position, who I could end up climbing the ladder. And I could use kind of the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon, where I find people that are connected to the people that I want to connect with. And now I'm going to build my relationships that way, or I'm going to, at least I'm going to eat working with some people that are willing to pay some revenue towards building towards the bigger fish, or the ones that have the bigger payday. But those 15 questions will give you a lot of clarity, and it may seem tedious and it may be a big head scratch where you just have a hard time defining who that person is. I know that when we worked through this process with other business owners, they feel like that they're leaving people out. I remember when I was selling radio, that was my first job. I sold radio advertising, and I went out on a sales presentation. I did a needs analysis and I collected a bunch of information. And I came back to my sales manager and I was kind of building the proposal. And I said, or they said, well, what's the target demographic? And I go, 18 to 54. He goes, that's not a target demographic. That's a family reunion. I need to know specifically who are the people that they're going to reach. And I go, well, they work with a lot of different people. And he said, but yeah, who's their ideal person that they want to work with? And sometimes when you think about the word ideal and you start targeting down an ideal client profile, you feel like you're going to miss out on all these people. Like for you, Vivian, is that if you were to, kind of clarify, I'm looking for a female C-suite level executive that is in between the ages of 35 and 55. That's a targeted, narrowed down niche, but it may be the niche that you absolutely crush. And how many of those people are out there inside the state of California or within a 100-mile radius that are in a C-suite? You might be able to pull some data and go, oh my goodness, I love working with women executives, and I'm passionate about women business owners. So maybe that's the place that I'm going to absolutely crush. And that's going to lead me to more men who own businesses as well, or couples that own businesses. But that could be my entry point, is working with female executives.
Mhm. Yeah,
Hey,
it's
Dave.
fascinating you said that because I got the opportunity to talk at an event called Women in Water, and that's exactly who I'm talking to. So we're talking with water districts all over Inland Empire, um, and they're all C-level women
So
that
you're looking
connected
for
with me.
mermaids, women in water. Come
Yep.
on.
Yeah.
Jeff,
Yeah.
you had another
There were
question?
6. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I just trying to give some examples of audience. We've got all these different businesses. I mean, we've got like Augustine's B2C, Vivian's B2B. I don't know everybody else's, businesses. I haven't studied them to figure out what's your target audience. But I was thinking of Augustine. I found a company down in Texas that said, Jeff, in Texas, we get this thing called hail, and it's pretty bad, right? I mean, it dents cars, breaks windows, but it also screws up roofs pretty bad. And what this company did is they would, they were like storm chasers. They would see where the hail damage happened. And literally the way hail works in Texas, I've never been in a hailstorm in Texas, so forgive me for being Southern California. We've had earthquakes, but um, they would look at the neighborhood and say, hey, the hailstorm came through this neighborhood and affected these 200 homes, but not the 200 homes on the other side of the street. So they would map it out, and then they would do direct mail to the neighborhood, just the homes that got affected. So if I'm a roofer and I want to go in and fix 100 roofs for 10 grand a pop and do $1 million in revenue, is your target audience the people that just had hail damage on their roof? Yes, it is. And how am I? And not only would they direct mail these people, but they had door knockers with a clipboard. Hey, I understand the storm came down your street and you've got hail damage. They would go out and door knock 200 people and get 10 or 15 jobs. It was crazy. So there's a way to identify an audience as a roofer that's kind of unique that not everybody maybe thinks about. This whole company was designed around storm chasing, knowing what roofs got hit by the hailstorm every week, every month around different parts of the country. It was fascinating that was available. So I'm out studying, how do I find my target audience? How do I get in front of the 200 people who their roofs just got damaged by hail last week? And timing's everything. They're already calling their insurance company. Insurance company's referring them to their roofer. Here's our preferred list of roofers that are approved. You got to get in there quick. So timing is very important. But I just thought of that. Another one that I did that kind of ties into that. I had a client called Solar City, biggest solar company in the world ever. They're doing 2,000 installs a month. A little guy named Elon Musk's cousin owns it, right? And Kimball, I think, was the owner of Solar City, and they're doing 2,000 installs a month. They're spending $3,000 a deal on marketing. So $30,000 worth of solar, their marketing cost was 3,000. They become the biggest in the world because of the marketing spend. And I talk Solar City. I go, hey, you guys are already doing your junk mail dirt cheap with someone else. I don't even want that business. There's no money in it. Keep using your friend and he can do the work for free. But I'll tell you what I've got. I've got a list of every person buying a Tesla every month. As soon as they buy a Tesla, guess what? Plug in and charge that thing, electric bill goes through the roof. How about we market to Tesla owners every month about doing solar on the roof? And I know who pulled a permit to do solar. So I already know who's got solar already. Skip those people. They're not prospects, but let's go after Tesla people, a week after they buy it. Because it's talk about top of mind. As soon as you plug your car and you go, oh, my free Tesla is $170 a month to charge it. Not so. So, anyways, that was a very successful campaign, but that was an example of finding an audience through data. They don't have solar now. They just bought a Tesla. Tesla was selling, I don't know, a few thousand cars a month, but we had this great audience that was like, and we're going to go after them in every way. Direct mail, Google, email, phone calls. I mean, once we get that small audience, we're going to annihilate that audience till they call us and we're going to get that business. So that was very successful for,
And that might be good to touch on, because that's one of the things that we're doing in our business consulting is when we're working with the business owner, we're helping them to identify their ideal client profile. And then we're going in and accessing data. So we can go out there and get them a list of the qualified prospects of the people that they want to talk to. And we can get their LinkedIn profile link. We can get their company size, employee numbers. I mean, we can really target that down, and that's one of the services that we can offer. So you want to just touch for a moment, Jeff, on the ability to get to a target audience through going through and buying data?
yeah, I mean, I've spent millions of dollars buying data because I was reselling data to my clients, right? I'm like an expert on when it comes to data. There's this little company out there called Zoom Info that went public and just got valued at, it was $30 billion. And today they're down to 6 billion. I've kind of been watching them. I think when they went public, they were $3 billion company, but they have really good data on businesses, right? But it's $20,000 a year for a subscription. That's like a lot of money. I paid it because I wanted the best cell phone numbers, best email addresses for high level CEOs. It's more B2B data. So there's different places to buy data based on your industry. Zoom Info is great B2B data, very expensive, but you can find resellers that'll sell you 1,000 names, right? We have a connection on that people that have the license that'll sell us smaller quantities. So you have to pay 20 grand a year. So finding data, whether it's B2B, I want the CEO's name. I want her email address, her cell phone number. I have a better chance of dialing that person, calling, emailing, and then picking up. So good data is important. We sold a lot of homeowner data because we're looking at, oh, Jeff's got a $500,000 mortgage. His house is worth $1 million. He's got 20 grand in credit card debt. And he just had an inquiry on his credit report that he's looking for a mortgage. That was the data I got that I sold. So whether it's B2B or B2C, data is a good start, but you got to have a plan for that data. You got to have your sales team ready to call, email, text, Instagram, follow them on Facebook. I just told my salespeople, we're getting 100 leads a month. We're selling 5 weddings. Why don't you go after the 100 people, the leads that come in here, connect with them on Facebook. Oh, we can't do that. Why not? They're getting married. We're a wedding venue. Reach out, connect with them on Facebook. Hey, I see you have a beautiful dress picked out for your wedding. Have you found a venue yet? Like, let's get aggressive and let's market. There's nothing wrong with that. If they don't want to connect with you, they deny it. But it's funny, my salespeople got a little sideways when I said connect with the brides on Facebook. They want to see pictures of weddings. Provide some valuable information. Here's the colors, the time of year, here's the weather. There's nothing wrong with that. We're not trolling. We're not going down some privacy thing, but it's funny, data on Facebook, connecting with a lead on Facebook, and you learn a lot more about them, right? So anyways, if you can do that, it's a little aggressive, but hey, when we're going to go from 5 weddings a month to 10, we're going to get aggressive. We're going to work harder. We're going to work smarter. We're going to do things no one else is doing. So I'm big on that. And I guess that's kind of marketing, but sales too. So
Yeah, and Vivian and Robert, they would be so perfect for LinkedIn marketing because they can really target their audience and really find the specific, titles, the revenue, the number of employees, so that they can identify who actually maybe has a budget for this. And it's very social, and yeah, that could be a great strategy, as well as anybody else that's working directly with professionals. Facebook and Instagram and other social media channels are also great platforms, just depending upon who your target audience is. So I challenge everybody to go through that in this next week and answer those 15 questions. And it may be hard, but do hard things. It's going to be better once you have learned to do hard things. And as an entrepreneur, you know how to do hard things. Another question that comes right out of the business optimizer that's right after that is the idea of knowing what your strengths are. What are the things that you do extremely well? And where are your opportunities in the marketplace to separate yourself from the competition? You may have weaknesses. You may not have a lot of social proof. You may not have a lot of digital social media followers. You may have some threats that are, you're a smaller business. Whatever your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats are, it's good to identify them. And your strengths can be customer service, but you're going to want to figure out what is it about customer service that makes it a strength, because every company should have customer service. And that's where I think a lot of people, Jeff, they a lot of business owners, they think that the most common things, because they've heard negative things about their competitors, they oftentimes will think of their strength as being a unique value proposition or a unique selling proposition, when it's really not that unique. It may be unique in their head compared to what they know about their competition, but it needs to be able to stand out. So Jeff, talk a little bit about really crafting that unique value proposition and separating yourself from the competitors out there, and really being able to get it to the point where it's really a deliverable that you or your staff knows and it's easy to communicate.
I like talking to customers. I think it's so important. Like I've got 47 wineries in Temecula that did 4,500 weddings last year. I did 68. I'm in Murrieta. I'm not in the wine country. That hurts me, right? But I talk to brides and I go, hey, what do you like about the winery versus Hawk Ranch here in Murrieta? And they go, well, when my friend did a wedding at the winery and they had 3 weddings going on at the same time. So the music overshadows each other's wedding. Some of my guests went to the wrong wedding, like wedding crashers. And then you got all the drunk people out there drinking wine that are photo bombing the photos, drunks out. And I'm like, that's good. That's good. Hawk Ranch is now a 40-acre private estate, 1 wedding on a Saturday. See how I take what I learn, what I listen, and then I phrase that into my marketing. We're redoing all of our packages right now. 1 wedding on a Saturday, private estate. We're not a winery. I can't lie. I mean, I thought about growing vineyards, calling myself a winery and doing Hawk Ranch wine. I'm not beyond that. If I got to do that, that'll be next, right? I got 2 vineyards that are like 20 feet long. But if I got to plant more, actually, I already found out 75% of my 40 acres has to be vineyards to call myself a winery and get a liquor license and make wine. And that's all, that's another story. But I'm looking at that. Why not? Right. Look at,
Well,
I'm
you whine quite a bit, so maybe we can just call it a
like,
different
that's
misspell the
great.
word winery.
I'm all about the ant philosophy, right? Over, under, around. I would, fill in my ant hole. I'm digging my way out. I'm not stoppable. I have to have that, or else it ain't gonna happen. So I don't even remember your damn question. You got me sideways. You made fun of
That's
me.
all right. I know you
Gee,
got
it
to
was
get
my
on.
wine. What was it? Now I got to go. I got an appointment in Riverside that I have
Yeah,
to
we'll get some
be at.
more of your marketing
Um,
expertise on the next session, but I'll continue on with the unique value proposition. But thanks for
oh,
sharing some
I
of your
was
expertise.
what I was going to leave you with is my mentor in marketing, which really sales, right? He says he's a marketing genius. Everything he does is to increase revenue. So how to get everything you've got, how to get everything you want out of all you've got. That's the name of the book. It's Jay Abraham. It's not a book you read once. You have to read it a few times and you have to implement every chapter. Unbelievable. Like that was for me like 25 years ago. He was charging 10 grand for a Saturday seminar 20 years ago. He goes, Jeff, I was making $2 million a weekend. Unbelievable. He was like one of the godfather of marketing. He's on stage with Tony Robbins, but he's getting older. He's slowing it down a little bit. But I think from a marketing perspective, I learned more from that book than I ever learned over 30 years of doing this, right? But it was hard because you read it. It's not something you just read and then it happens. When I went to a seminar, I took 17 pages of notes for Hawk Ranch. And he told me, here's some ways to differentiate Hawk Ranch from the 47 other wedding venues within 10 miles that are honestly nicer in the wine country with vineyards. So I love that book. One of my mentors. It's a good read, but it's a hard read because you got to implement. If you're not going to implement it, don't read the book. It's not worth it. It'll just read 1 chapter, implement, read the next chapter. How to get everything you can out of all you've got. You just hold on a second. I'm gonna grab. I just saw it on my bookshelf. That is the book. It's Jay Abraham, and it's probably 25 years old. It's still relevant today, except it's missing the social media. He talks a lot about direct mail and maybe email marketing was just coming. So it doesn't really give specifics about the new channels that are available, but it's the core, it's the philosophy. Who cares what the channel is? If it moved from email to LinkedIn, it's the same principle. It's all about list and offer, audience and offer. So that hasn't changed in 25 years. So anyways, we're working with Jay doing some stuff with him that's kind of exciting, but it's a great book. That's his picture in the back, but he's probably 20 years older now.
Hmm.
That's Jay Abraham, just godfather of marketing. That book, was big for me. So I got to roll, Dave.
Good deal.
Good
Thanks,
seeing
Jeff.
It's
everybody.
only $15 on Amazon.
Yeah,
I think that
amazing.
it's, and there's also some digital versions if people like digital versions that are maybe even available at no cost if you're interested. But let's talk a little bit about your unique value proposition. So when you think about your strengths and how to position that in a unique value proposition, is anybody willing to come off of mute and share what their unique value proposition is? No shame here. We're all getting better. So anybody got one? See, Benny's not on camera. JW, John's not on camera. How about you, Joe? Do you got a unique value proposition that you use to separate yourself from the competition?
I mean, we have a bunch of them. It depends on, who they're facing, but
Give
one
us
that
an
we
example of one. What's the one that you like the most?
it's like a standard line that we have for realtors. Our winning offer package replaces like a pre-approval package.
Mm,
And it basically has an 85% success rate of first-time offer acceptance when submitted in conjunction with a competitive offer to buy a house.
very nice.
So
So you
it's a
took
lot
something
different.
that's very standard, which is a pre-approval, and
Yep.
you put a little extra polish on it, or lagniappe, a little cherry on top that
Yep.
made it stand out. Good.
Yep. And
So
it's maybe a 16-page package versus, a one-page letter type of deal.
yeah, so it's not doing something extraordinary. It's doing something that's ordinary in an extraordinary way. So
Exactly.
it's not doing the impossible. It's taking the possible and then just making it to be different than what everybody else would say. Marshall, there's a lot of financial advisors out there. What are you doing to separate yourself from the other financial advisors are?
Nothing. That's why I'm here.
Yeah, that's good. So Ed, did you think about what strengths that you could position yourself to separate yourself from the competition?
I would say the biggest difference is in people's assumption of what a financial advisor is compared to what I actually do. So most financial advisors are asset gatherers. And people think that they're doing more than they are. They're really just gathering assets under management and letting it ride. And I am actually building strategies and trying to help people with unique situations and chaotic situations to make it efficient and make sure they're positioned in the correct places. So
Yeah, so if you were to take that and turn it into a unique value proposition, you could say, we don't just gather assets and put them under management. We have a 10-step process to identify the right position for all of your assets. And that in itself could be unique because it's a 10-step process, or we have a simplified 5-step process where we identify your needs, your wants, your desires, and strategically align your assets in the best possible solution. It's just taking the same thing that you said and making it to be a little bit more unique. And you have to play with this language a little bit and simplify it and shorten it down as best as you can. I had when I was doing the home mortgage business, 20 years ago, I had this thing where I did a $100 24-hour customer service guarantee, where if you called, emailed, left a message, sent a text, we would return your message within 24 hours, or we would give you $100. And it wasn't that hard. I wasn't going to give $100 away. So with my entire staff, it became known that there is no message that goes unreturned within 24 hours. Otherwise, we have to give a $100 guarantee. And to real estate agents, financial planners, and customers, one of their major problems or major issues was communication. So I took the noise of what the bad feedback was, and I affirmed it. And if I ever had to give $100, which I never did, if I ever did have to give $100, the marketing alone would be worth $100. So again, communication was something that I was good at. It was one of my strengths. It wasn't one of my weaknesses. So if communication is your weakness and you have a hard time getting back to people, you wouldn't use, communication as a unique value proposition. You'd use something different. JW says, my value prop is I manage over 100 million in premium, and over 75% of the clients I work with are able to maintain benefits or improve benefits for the same price or less over 5 years. That's a really good defined value proposition because it's using numbers. So another way of taking it, from a number standpoint would be is Augustine could go back and look. Augustine, how many roofs have you replaced in your marketplace?
Is that within like the last year, within,
Total, ballpark, if you had to guess.
let's see if it, I'll tell you right now real quickly, just some basic numbers real quick. So we do on average 50 to I would say 60 roofs a year.
Okay. How many years in
Um,
business?
I'm sorry?
How many years in business?
Yeah, since 2009, so 15, so about 750 roofs, on average.
So you could say, for 15 years, we've replaced over 752 roofs, and we've never had a negative review or something along those lines. When you're tying it back, so now you're showing your reliability. You've been in business for 15 years. You've done 750 roofs, and if you are competing against people that have less time in the marketplace, you would use your consistency of being in the market 15 years to position yourself in a unique way and to posture your competitive advantage. And another one could be where, we do something if there's a complaint in your marketplace where the proposals are not necessarily what the finished price is. You could come back and say, our proposals are within 99% of what our final costs are. And we've done it that way for over 15 years. That could be another way to separate yourself if it's a strength of yours. So be thinking about what your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats are, and be playing with this unique value proposition and bring it back to future sessions, and we can have some dialogue about it. That's one of the opportunities, is that if you are a member of our Scale University and you're part of our group sessions, you can bring those ideas and bring them back for feedback so that we can talk about them in future sessions. So next topic is the area of budget, and most business owners have not fully committed to a budget. And if you don't have a large amount of revenue, you may be working off of a very small budget or no budget. You may be doing more word of mouth marketing. If you have a business that's been more established, you may have a more dedicated amount. I found that it's good to start with a percentage of revenue as a good starting point. And different businesses will use different amounts, but start with a number that you can afford to dedicate to your marketing as a minimum commitment, that this money is going to go towards marketing. You can decide which areas and strategies to invest your marketing, but the wrong thing to do is not to have a budget. And once you have a budget, it just becomes a filter. You can increase the budget or decrease the budget once you have a number, but it's good to set aside and make sure that you're reinvesting money back into your business to make sure that your business is in business. Because if you go to a zero budget, unless you have an amazing sales team and an amazing product and service, you're probably going to have a decreasing sales volume because you haven't been reinvesting money back into your marketing. And a small budget can go a long way. That's going back to Jeff's comment about Jay Abraham's book, How to Get Everything You Want from Everything You Got, is that many times the dollars that are spent on a budget, they're spent based upon flavor of the month marketing, where somebody calls and says, hey, Augustine, I've got a deal on radio ads. You can do 30 radio ads for $750. That's a really good deal. It's normally $1,500. And Augustine goes, wow, I can be on the radio for $750 and save $750. Bam. And then Augustine spends $750, and then he maybe doesn't get a roof that comes out of that opportunity. And he goes, man, that was a wasted spend. And then somebody comes along and says, hey, Augustine, I can do website optimization for $750. Next month, he goes, $750? Yeah, it's actually $1,500 normally. He goes, I got burned on this last time. He goes, I'm promising you, it'll work if you just do it this time. And then Augustine goes, great, invest $750, nothing, or not enough return on investment. And so he basically uproots from that opportunity and then he goes to the next one. Or he doesn't start marketing because he goes, I've struck out twice. I'm not going to do that again. That's expensive. I just wasted $1,500. And now what he's doing is he's giving back any future growth opportunity because he's not spending any money in marketing. So he's not fueling the business, giving it gas to run on. He's withholding the gas. And when you do that, if you don't have other amazing salespeople that sell the product without marketing, or you don't have an amazing product and service and high demand, then you end up decreasing sales altogether. So when you have a budget and you actually have a plan, that's when you're going to end up starting to see some opportunities. So I see a comment here. Let me just jump on it real quick. All right, so JW's got to bounce. So I'll send a recording over to JW. Does anybody have any questions as it relates to budget? Anything that jumps out at you? If you have a question, throw it in the chat and I'll stop and answer it. We got some more stuff to go through, so I want to make sure we get all the way through the content today. So the next topic I'm going to talk about is the phases of marketing. And so there's different phases that we can maximize to get everything we can out of, or everything we want out of everything we got. So the first phase is lead generation. So there should be marketing strategies that are included inside your budget that generate leads. That's going to be a very important thing to get your business and get your funnel filled up. Then there's the in-process phase. And that's once you end up building a relationship or having contact with somebody, you want to make sure that you're providing a wow type of experience while they're in connection with your company. So lead generation is considered to be more attracting suspects, contacts, candidates into a conversation. Once you've had a conversation with them, or once you've captured their email address and their phone number, their address, then there should be some in-process marketing. And this is where you get the opportunity to give somebody a wow experience. This is where you are going to blow their mind as being such an amazing organization that they're either going to want to buy more, or they're going to make you part of their key accounts, where they're going to make it to be where they're going to keep coming back to use you because of the way that you treated them from the time that you connected with them to the time that they completed the transaction. And this is going to be different in different organizations, but in your business, can you think about an area that you could absolutely wow somebody that a competitor may not be able to, or may not be able to do the same thing, or they may not be doing the same thing? Anything come to mind about an area that you could blow people away? Augustine, what's an area that you feel you could blow people away and really wow them when they're in the roofing process?
Sure, I'd say just from the beginning, we have a process that from the moment that we answer the phone, it's how they hear us on the other side. So we train our admin people the person who answers the phone, so that they feel like they're available. We teach them about good listening skills, so they can hear what that client needs or wants. Because if they call us, it's because they're calling us because they have a roof leak or something. So I know it sounds really simple, but for me, just active listening has changed everything, the game. Like, I'm not worried about my competitors and what they're doing, because if I'm taking care of my clients, they're rooting for me on Google reviews and raving and all this other stuff. And referring me to the next one and so on. So that, to me, that's just from the very first point of contact. I've learned that I've called some businesses and it's like, I almost want to hang up after I'm on the phone with some, like,
Right.
wow, that was rude, or they sound like they're too busy for me. So just is being present, with that customer, whoever that might be, because they finally came through on the lead, or you're calling them back because they put in a request online. So just being available, being friendly, the basics, but it's really just letting them know, hey, I'm here for you, and what's your need, and then provide solutions for them. So yeah, that's how we do it.
That's great. So what I've found is that if you just take the point of contact. So when you first come into connection with somebody and you just itemize out, like, what would be the most awesome experience from the point of contact to the point of completion of purchasing a service or purchasing a product from your company? What would be the absolute wow type of experience? It might be, I got a weekly update from them. It might be where we gave them a gift. We gave them a handwritten thank you note. It could be I provided them with a random act of kindness. It could be just a gift card that says, thanks for choosing Augustine Gomez Roofing, whatever the name of the name of the company is. But you could be just doing something that recognizes them, using their first name every time you talk to them. If you call them by their first name, people like to hear their own name. So just be thinking about, what would be, I created this thing called my raving fan customer service checklist, which was, I wanted to give such an extraordinary experience while a person was in process, so that I didn't have to spend a lot of money on lead generation. And during that process, when I was wowing people, every time we did something that wowed them, we asked for a referral, or we asked for a testimonial, or we would ask for something, a shout out on social media. There could be other things that you do in the process that give you more chances of getting repeat customers or getting a referral. And then the last phase is the area of retention and referrals. So what happens after a individual client or customer purchases something from your business? What is the process of retaining that customer? What are some of the follow-ups? What's some of the next steps? One of the greatest things that I ever found was the 2-question survey. So anytime that an individual does business with you, you don't give them this long customer service survey or ask them for this long written description of what their experience was. You ask them the question. On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the best experience you could have, 1 being the worst experience, how would you grade us? And they would circle a number 1 through 10. And then the next question was, if not a 10, what could we have done to become better and closer to a 10? And then it was an open box. And then they would basically fill in the information. And then the next step is that if you return this survey, you get entered into, or you will receive a $50 gift card, or whatever the number is, doesn't make a difference. You could choose a $5 gift card, but you're trying to get the information back from the consumer. And so by offering a reward for them turning that in, it gave us an opportunity to first get feedback. And people will tell a piece of paper or tell a computer, an online survey, more than they'll tell an individual. So we were able to get some honest feedback. And some of the people, I was absolutely shocked. I was shocked that they gave us a less than a 10. And if it was anything less than a 7, I went above and beyond to reach out to the person. But some people are just hard with numbers, so I didn't look too much into the numbers. People have a hard time giving a 10, but the ones that did give an 8, 9, or a 10, all clients are not treated equal. I absolutely blew those people away with extra customer service and extra follow-up and extra referral requests because they were an 8, 9, or a 10. And oftentimes those are the people that I asked for a recommendation or a shout out or something of that nature. So those are the 3 areas of marketing. When we look at the actual business optimizer, we break down the different phases, we break down the different strategies, and establish a budget for each one of the individual strategies. And we won't have time to go into great detail on all the different strategies. I can just tell you that, dividing them into 3 categories is what I've tried to do just to maximize a marketing budget. So if you don't have a huge budget, make sure that you can do all you can with the low cost options. So making sure that you do a good job of retaining your current clients as future clients, make sure that you ask for referrals, and make sure that you're doing a good job with posting content, because that's a very low cost strategy to stay top of mind, and use email and other low cost options. If you decide to grow into a medium cost strategy and you want to do more pay-per-click advertising or influencer marketing, webinars, workshops, those are great as well. And high cost options are, Jeff spent millions of dollars using consumer direct marketing using direct mail and advertising on radio and things of that nature. All three of these options work. Choosing which one works best for your business is part of the process, not an event. It's a process of determining which one is a good strategy and then refining that strategy over time. So when you look at your marketing plan, this is the document that we've shared, the Business Optimizer. When you go into that section, you can see that there's different targets. I put in 8 different targets just in case there was anybody out there that had multiple different targets that they marketed to. So like Joe, he might have prospective clients as target number 1. Target number 2 could be past clients. Target number 3 could be real estate agents or realtors. Target number 4, which is down below, could be financial planners. Target number 5 could be accountants. Target number 6 could be for sale by owners. So he could have multiple different targets that he's trying to reach out to, and he may have a different strategy built in for each one of them. Don't overcomplicate it. When you're first getting started, just focus in on who's my primary target audience that I'm trying to reach. And then you can use these little drop-down menus to select whether it's lead generation focused or whether it's in-process focused or if it's client retention focused. And I'll bring open the document just to give you an idea of how to utilize this, just in case you want to leverage the tool. Hold on just one second. So if you go to marketing plan, so the lead generation is where you select these different types over here. You can see that when you download this as your own file, you can choose to edit the items that are listed over here in black. So if these don't make good sense to you, you can edit them inside the drop-down menu by just clicking on this little pencil over here. The frequency is listed over here. So you've got your frequencies, just a drop-down menu where you can choose from. And then you've obviously got your activities over here on the right-hand side. And you can select from the activities that I put in there, or you can add your own in the blank spaces, or you can type over the top of the ones that we already have listed as options, and then they will show up in your drop-down menu. If you're not an Excel user, this can get a little bit more complicated. So I tell people, don't make it more complicated. Just print the thing out and write in what your activities are and use, a short acronym or something just to keep it simple. You can convert this information to a format that's usable for you. This is just a free tool that we offer to business owners that we're consulting with. And when we're doing one-on-one consulting, we actually do it for them. So they can basically depend on us to customize the tool for them. But for you doing it on your own, all of the dollar figures that you put in here are going to show up down here. So if you were utilizing an email system, you wouldn't put the cost in underneath multiple targets. You would just put the cost in one time, and then that would total it up here as a monthly cost. So you'd have an idea of what your marketing budget is. But those are some simple resources that I found to be valuable. And this is, again, it's a time-consuming process to go in there and craft a marketing plan. But here's the return on investment, is that if you take the time to plan, Benjamin Franklin said 1 hour of good planning is equal to 8 hours of hard labor. So if you spend an hour developing a marketing plan, number one, you're going to save yourself some costly labor hours, which if you look at the cost of your time, it's pretty expensive. When you look at your annual income divided by the hours that you work, your time is valuable. Time is money. So spend an hour crafting out the marketing plan. And then what happens is that once you have the marketing plan, now you can begin to train a virtual assistant or a staff member on how to execute the plan, so that now the business works because the business plan works, not because Augustine is working all the time. But if you don't take the time to craft the plan, it's going to be expensive to hand it off to somebody else and say, you create the plan. But if you'll just take the time to lay out the plan, you're going to end up finding it's easy to hand it off. You can hand off that plan to somebody that gets paid a lot less money than you. And that's a nice way to leverage other people's time so that you can spend your time focusing in on the things that really make the biggest impact for your business. I'm gonna take it off of screen share. Any questions on the marketing plan? Anything jumping out at you? Augustine, did you have any questions or?
No, just to me, things are just kind of falling in place in order of importance, if you would.
Cool.
And as we're doing all this, you might see I'm like looking down or whatever, but I'm literally taking notes on a separate screen
Cool.
because things that are popping out, I want to make sure that I put them. But I would just say, order of importance again of having the really determining who that target audience is going to simplify the process of where I want to market, because I get marketing calls like a ton every day, and it's just yeah, and it's hard. You can't be specific or strategic unless you know who you're trying to target. So yeah.
Yeah, so much clarity. There's an old quote that I love. It says, "It's success is not a matter of magic and hocus pocus. It's a matter of focus. And focus precedes success. So when you can focus in on who your ideal client profile is, and you know who you're looking for, it's a lot easier to communicate it to other people. This is who I'm looking for. Um, it's also easier to market to them because, like Jeff said, is that, well, this website has 5,000 visitors, but are they our ideal client profile? Because if they're not, I don't care if there's 1 million people going to that website. If it's the wrong person, it's still wrong. It's not a good use of our marketing dollars to go buy that website if we're not reaching our ideal client profile. So the ideal client profile, the target audience, really becomes the filter. The budget becomes a filter, the phases become a filter, the strategies become a filter. And again, all of these different strategies that you could put in here, like lunch meetings, blogs, reels on social media posts, all these things actually work, but you have to prove that they work for you. And if you're just doing the flavor of the month marketing, it's like the idea of planting a tree and watering it and putting a bunch of potting soil. And at the end of the month, you pull the tree and you uproot all the roots that were developing and you go plant it someplace else. And that's what a lot of business owners do, is they just bounce from idea to strategy, and they just waste a lot of money. And then they end up burning out on marketing. So then they stop spending money, or they stop spending a large amount of money, or they're just not making the adjustments and they're not changing with the economy. So a lot of you have realized that social media has changed. So social media, you used to do certain things on social media and you may generate some opportunities and some clients. That doesn't necessarily work these days. The cheese has been moved. So unless you're trying new strategies and tactics, and if you're doing the old things, at a higher repetition, and those things no longer work, well, you're going to end up wasting a lot of money. And that's where this next page out of the workbook comes from, is the idea of source tracking. So, right now we're in the month of May. If I was to come and look at your past customer database of the people that have been purchasing from you in the previous 4 months of 2024, could you tell me where those people came from? And when business owners take the time to go back in and look at, where is my marketing dollars giving me a return on investment? So you may find that you're spending a lot of money on seminars, but most of your new business is coming from past clients, friends, website. But here you are trying to develop all this business in seminars. And again, that may end up having a delayed effect. There may be a tail to it where you may end up getting more business in the fourth quarter because of the work that you're doing with seminars. But don't step over dollars to pick up nickels, dimes, and pennies. That's a quote that I crafted a long time ago, is that many times we're stepping over our past clients. We're stepping over the people that we know, like, and trust. We're stepping over, doing some small things with our website that would be very small investments, that if we don't spend time focusing in on those things, we're getting diminishing returns on our marketing budget. So this source tracking is another great tool. And if you just put the number one, or how many deals or customers that you brought in that box, it'll put the totals over here, and then you can go in there and analyze, what does it look like, and what's getting our best return on investment. The next section is really important. This has been one that I have grown and learned, more recently than ever before. But the quality of the offer, and Jeff will talk about this in a little bit more, but knowing your unique value proposition is obviously one of the core issues inside of your offer. Making sure that people know that their satisfaction is guaranteed is something that reduces the risk of doing business with you. So anytime that you offer some form of a guarantee, you're going to get a higher conversion rate on offers to prospective clients and candidates. But other things that you may want to include, or you should be thinking about including, is comparing what their other options are. So sometimes businesses will do a comparison between, if you did business with, another company, this is what they would give you, and here's what you would get if you worked with us. So if you're actually, a competitive advantage is you offer better benefits or better resources than your competitors, you might want to use a competitor comparison to be able to show the value of doing business with you. Creating a sense of urgency. I didn't fully understand the value of having urgency, but there's something to be said about the fear of missing out, the opportunity where things are going to expire. You're going to miss out on a special savings or a special discount or a special offer if you don't act by this particular date. Scarcity is a limited number of quantity number. So being able to offer individuals a special discount or a special offer if they're one of the first 10 people. That's where people that want to become like the first 10 customers are going to get a special discount. And if they do it before the 30th or 31st of the month, that's the urgency and the scarcity using those together. Reciprocity or reciprocation is where you are edifying an individual. You're edifying the individual that you're working with, or you're giving them something of value. So I don't know if you've purchased a car recently, but what's one of the things that you do when you go into a car dealership? One of the very first things that they do when you enter in the car dealership, they ask you a question. Anybody have any idea what that question is? If you've bought a car or been to a car dealership. Vivian, you got any idea?
I always have my credit union buy my cars for me, so I don't go in.
Very nice. Well, I bought a few cars in the recent history, and I've been into car dealerships, and every time I go in there, the salesperson or the person at the front desk says, "Would you like something to drink?" And they go get you a free beverage, coffee, soda, water. And part of that is building the trust and credibility where we're giving you something of value. And so, Vivian, in your business, offering AI, is that, one of the things that you could do as a reciprocity or a reciprocation is that you could say, we'd love to provide you with a free AI audit, where we can basically just identify all the different areas in your business where AI could decrease expenses and increase profitability. And it's just a free offer that we give to you. So it could be a free white paper, it could be free video, it could be a free report, anything that where you're bringing them value makes them feel like you've made a valuable deposit into them. So they're going to have a higher likelihood to want to give you something of value back because they feel indebted to you. And this is oftentimes, with timeshares, they offer you a free trip, right? They offer you free vacations. So they entice you with the form of a free offer to give you that opportunity to ask you about your interest in vacationing and to be able to display the vacationing services that they offer. And then they are likely to get a better chance of a sale because they gave you this free gift. So you feel somewhat obligated. Not everybody has the same character qualities, but or values. And some people just take advantage of those things. But it's a strategy that ends up having a high conversion rate to not only get people into a conversation, but also to feel like that individual is somewhat indebted to you to make an investment versus to go to the competitor and to work with that individual. So contrast, urgency, scarcity, reciprocity or reciprocation, value. Obviously, you want to be able to provide a good value in your offer to make sure that people see you as being a valuable competitor in the marketplace. Another one is a social proof. So any type of testimonial, obviously you see this in health organizations, fitness companies, they're going to show people that have done what you want to do, that have used their services. Anybody that is using social proof and reviews on Google or using client testimonials would be a great example. So when you think about your offer and you think about these 6 areas, do you think that you have an irresistible offer? When you make that offer to somebody, is it so filled with valuable resources that it creates somewhat of an irresistible nature to it, and it's hard to refuse because there's something to it that says, wow, this is amazing. And if I don't do it now, I may end up missing out. Any feedback on that? Any questions? Nobody? Good on.
I feel like it's great to look this over and I need a little more clarity in my offer.
Yeah. So what would you say is, when you think about the 6 areas, what do you think would be the specific area that you need some improvement and clarity? Would it be in just the actual offer in itself? Or would you say, or the value in the offer that it brings? Or would you,
Probably the urgency, and like I need to work on that because I tend to be very chill about how I offer my things, and so I need to improve that
yeah,
because they will 100% save a ton of money as soon as they start implementing what I'm offering. And I totally believe that, but I'm very relaxed about how I offer it. So I need to pump that up a little bit.
So what's an area that or what's something that you could do to provide more clarity and urgency and some scarcity to it? Because I know something about your business based upon our previous conversation,
Mhm.
that you could be very authentic and very real about it. So it's, yes, you want to be chill, but there's also a reality of your business that is present, that you could take that reality and transform that into urgency and scarcity. Do you know what I'm thinking of?
I mean, the savings that they're going to have.
That's one, but there's something that your company specifically has you would maybe consider it to be a weakness, but it's also something that can create a high
We're a startup.
demand.
We're
Well,
new.
you're limited on time, right?
Yeah,
So
we are. That's right.
Robert is, his time is scarce. Now, you don't have to tell people that Robert is the only opportunity for service, but you can say, our tech team is right now in high demand. We only have room for about 3 more clients in the month of
Mhm.
May. And we're doing a special offer for the next 3 clients that sign up because we want to be able to be fully functional and fully operational based and get the very best out of what we've got. So we normally charge X amount of dollars for the services that we offer. But for the next 3 clients that sign up for our services in the month of May, so now you've just created
Mhm.
scarcity, you've created urgency, and you could be chill. But the reality of it is that if you don't do it, then somebody else is going to do it. So if you have somebody that's sitting on the fence.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
Dave said, or Joe said, Dave, do you think that sometimes the urgency and scarcity is kind of sniffed out and not super effective? I find that myself seeing this and just not responding to it as a result. So I do think that you have to do it from an authentic standpoint, which I know Vivian and Robert's business is a startup, and they are in a position where they're limited on resources. So, and that's one of the reasons. I mean, Vivian may have a feeling of like, oh, I don't really want to feel like I'm pushing people or convincing people to do it. But if she realizes the reality is it's true, I'm just telling the truth in an enthusiastic way. And the same thing goes with Augustine, is that, hey, we would love to come do your roof on your house. I would love to work with you, and we have a group of proposals out. We can only do about 3 more houses in the month of May. So if you want us to get started on your roof, we should probably get the signed agreement this week. And again, if you can't believe it to be true, if it's something that you're making up in your mind, it's going to come off as being lacking authenticity. So I would say that it needs to be something that you craft in a way that would be acceptable to you. And anything other than that, it may feel a little bit slimy, and you might feel like you got, commission or profit breath, where you're just focusing too much on the money. But I learned that I could create scarcity and urgency that's true and authentic to me. So my reality is that I can offer something that is a discount, or I can provide an extra value that is completely honest and completely authentic, because I'm choosing to create it. So I can create a special offer. So I can create an offer that says, hey, we only have room for 10 more clients to do this challenge, or we only have room for 10 more clients to come to the mastermind. And if 10 people sign up and I choose to expand it to 15, I'm okay saying that I expanded it to 15 because I created the urgency and the scarcity by establishing the number. And then I decided to change my mind. Now, again, if you do too much bait and switch, yes, people can sniff it out. In your situation, Joe, you might be able to say, I have a team of referral partners. I like working with 3 or 4 strategic financial planners. I've got 2 of them that are pretty solid financial planners in this particular area of marketing expertise, or in this area of financial expertise. I'm looking for somebody like you that has your experience, your location, your opportunities, and I really would like to have a conversation and build a relationship with you. But if it's not you, that's okay. I'm just going to be actively trying to fill that spot on the roster. And I would love to have it to be you, but if it's not you, that's okay. But now, and somebody said one time, people will do more out of the fear of missing out than out of the benefit of gain. So if you gave them a whole bunch of reasons about why to work with you and be a client of yours, or to be a referral partner of yours, they would be less likely to act on those benefits than if you told them that their competitor was competing for that same spot. Because now they're in that fear of, my competitor gets the referrals versus me getting them. So even though your benefits were, a list this long, just one fear of missing out may have more value. And I didn't understand how that worked, but as I've become more aware of it and I've used some of that strategy in our marketing, I'm amazed at how people respond to the fear of missing out. And again, obviously social media uses that a lot. And I try not to do it in a form of manipulation, but if I truly believe that my offer is going to move a person forward in their health, in their life, in their career, and in their business, then I need to be okay with sharing it with people. I'm not manipulating them. I'm helping them to make a decision. And I love the phrase that's, when people are on the fence about doing business with you, asking, do you like sitting on the fence? I've sat on fences. It's not a fun place to sit. I'd rather have you, jump off the fence. It's a lot more fun on the other side of the fence when you're moving forward and you're growing your profit. And giving them reasons to get off the fence is definitely an opportunity to grow your business and your profitability. So looking at your offer and evaluating what you can do in these areas, again, you don't have to have all 6, but you should have a couple of the 6 inside your offer. The calendar is next. The calendar inside the Business Optimizer is another way of simplifying and automating your business. So, if you were to go to the month of May, you could just start there and then you can copy and paste it. But this gives you an opportunity to look at all of the different things that you can do that are appropriate in a seasonal type of opportunity. So I don't know, Augustine, you might have the most seasonal business. Well, I guess Marshall may have a seasonal business as well with financial advising and tax time and things of that nature. But you know what, one of the things that I found is that making my marketing more systematic or more organized into a calendar gave me more opportunities to create fun marketing promotions around those different topics. So, you know, the month of May is Mental Health Awareness Month, you know, so I can create a marketing promotion around mental health. You can take promotions around other topics that are going to be specific. There's all kinds of national days and national months and national weeks. And you can think about how you can tie into those things and use those marketing opportunities to be more top of mind and to create that scarcity and urgency, because you're only going to do it in that month of January. And then you're going to move on to something different in the next month. Same type of thing, drop down menu, use the drop down menu. Let me go back to the business optimizer so you can see how that is utilized. So all of these sections over here are editable. You can just type over the top of them once you've downloaded the document as your own, or you made a copy of it, and then they show up over here in the drop-down menu. And then you can put in your notes, and then you can put in your dates of when you're going to do them. Once you get this to the point where you've now laid it out, now again, you can hand this off and say, here's our marketing calendar. We have our marketing plan, we have our marketing calendar. Now you can pay somebody a much lower wage for a few hours every week to be able to implement or execute on that marketing plan. And that brings us to the next section that we're going to talk about, which is the area of, let's share my screen again. Virtual marketing assistants. So I don't know if anybody uses a virtual assistant, but there's obviously lots of benefits to exploring how to leverage a virtual assistant, because once you take your, and this is just a good exercise to do, if everybody would just take their calculator and just pull out your calculator and just write down what is the average number of hours that you work in a week. So if you use 40 as a standard number, then you work 40 hours a week. How many weeks do you work, considering vacation days and all the things? So if you worked 50 hours a week or 50 weeks a year, that means you take 2 weeks of vacation. Okay. So you take 40 times 50. So that means that you are spending 2,000 hours at work. So if you take your income, and let's just say that you make $200,000 in personal income, you take $200,000 out of your business, and you divided it by 2,000 hours, you get paid about $100 an hour. So anything that is not worth $100 an hour, you should be thinking about how you can delegate that, delay it, or delete it, because you don't want to spend $100 an hour on something that's not generating $100 in revenue. And that's where we oftentimes will find business owners are spending way too much time on low payoff activities. And if you are earning, you know, $300,000 a year in income, that's $150 per hour. If you're making $400,000 divided by 2,000 hours, that's $200 an hour. So you just keep doing the math and you start realizing, wow, if I'm spending my time on $200 an hour activity and I'm delegating things to people, I mean, there's virtual assistants that work for, you know, you can do overseas where you can pay as low as, you know, $15 or less per hour. You have obviously some communication challenges if they don't speak very good English, but there's definitely companies out there that work with virtual assistants that are from all over the world that have the capacity to speak and type and write in virtual and good English and have the ability to communicate that you can leverage at a fraction of what your hourly rate is. There's also technology that you can utilize that acts as a virtual assistant. And so utilizing, you know, Chat GPT or AI, Vivian and Robert's business, Vivian's.io, is that right? Vivian's with an S.io is a great business that they are utilizing to help organizations at a much higher level to leverage AI. But for small businesses, sometimes the idea of just having a virtual assistant, and that doesn't have to be an overseas person. It could be an offsite person in your community, a person that's good with social media that you pay to manage your marketing calendar and your marketing plan and helps you to execute by developing flyers, emails, and other resources. And then if you use ChatGPT, there are some very simple things that you can do with ChatGPT that maximizes technology. I won't spend too much teaching you ChatGPT or any other resource that would be considered to be a technical tool that you could use. But if you were to utilize, for those people that are new to the game of AI, a simple prompt inside of ChatGPT that says, create a compelling offer for my roofing business for the month of May that creates scarcity, urgency, and tremendous value for those who do business with me. So now I've just created a marketing offer in how many minutes? How long did it take me?
1.
1 minute. So knowing how to use technology is a way that you can end up getting more value out of your time. And you may have to pay a virtual assistant to help you with this. There's experts out there that know how to use ChatGPT and all the other different Bard. I think it's the Google version. Maybe they've changed their name, but talk to the experts, Vivians.io. They can get you some more details on how to use AI in your favor. And this is just the basics of AI. There's obviously a lot more that you can create. But this type of activity, here's another one. You could type in there, and I'm now giving you all my trade secrets, but you can say, write 30 engaging social media posts for my mortgage business. Write them in my personal voice and include emoticons and hashtags. So now I'm just going to utilize the beautiful research that ChatGPT is creating, and I'm going to make it customized, but now ChatGPT is giving me great ideas of things that I could put on social media. So no longer are you thinking about what should I be posting to social media. This is something that you can actually spend time planning out, and then you can hand it off to your support staff. Other strategies that could be included is, utilizing technology. So utilizing things like LinkedIn connection reach out. This is one of the things that we use. So we have a relationship with this company where we are targeting business owners that have $1 to $10 million in revenue. We uploaded a list of those people that met our ideal client profile, and we are building a messaging campaign. We're utilizing technology where the technology sends a request to the people that we're looking for, and it personalizes it, and it utilizes some sequence technology so that I don't have to spend the time doing all of the time on reaching out to people on LinkedIn. I use automation and virtual marketing assistants to help me with building my audience, and I can have a full conversation, building connection with people that helps me to leverage my time. And there is much more involved in this process than what I'm going to show you here now. What I'm trying to give you a perspective of is that get everything you can out of everything you've got. You don't have to go out there and hire 16 more people to do marketing for you. You could actually leverage the available technology to get more done with less time. And obviously you may have some different hurdles. I mean, I know, Marshall, you've got compliance that you have to work with, but there's definitely things that you can do that are going to help you get done more in less time. All right, so let's wrap up here. Final topics for today. Referral partners. So if you go back and you think of who are the people that are already doing business with your ideal client profile, who already have a relationship with those people that could introduce you and give you more referral opportunities, and you could do the same thing for them, and you wouldn't have to spend a lot of money to do that. That's another getting everything you want out of everything you've already got. So thinking about how to get your business rolling in the right direction is being able to look at, what is it that I have a relationship, who is it that has my customers that I could end up leveraging as a way of introducing them to the people that I work with. And if you go into the Business Optimizer, there's a form that we created that gives you the ability to identify who your key referral partners are. Now, the titles may not be perfect for you. Business owners and top clients have the longest list next to them. And then there's a section down here for hot prospects where you can identify future potential referral partners. So if this is your own version, you can type over the top of this and write the different categories that would be best fit for you. But there's 6 categories at the top, and then there's 4 more down here that you can edit and create your own version. The P stands for priority. And so what I do is that I kind of identify them as A, B, C, 1, 2, 3. You can kind of define what your own priority system is. But if you were to think about the business owners who are already working with the people that you want to work with, they already have these people as clients or friends or family members. Write their names down and prioritize them. A, meaning that you have a great relationship with them, you have lots of trust and credibility, they like you, know you, trust you. B would be they may know you, they may know somebody that you know, like, and trust. They know, like, and trust them, but they may not know you personally. C is they're cool. They're not necessarily a warm connection or a hot connection. They're just somebody that you may want to build a relationship with. And if you just start identifying the people that you already have relationships with, who know the people that fit your ideal client profile, you can reach out to those people and share with them what it is that you do, why you do it, how you do it, and you can ask them what they do and how they do it. And you can let them know that you're building a referral network, you're building a referral system, that you want to refer business back and forth with affinity partners that have similar clientele. And you'd love to know if they would be interested in receiving referrals from you. That's one of the greatest ways to build referral partnerships, is not to go in and ask other people for referrals. It's to tell them that you have people that you are going to be referring. And you may say, well, I don't have anybody I'm referring. Well, I don't have anybody that I'm thinking of today that I can refer to Vivian. But because I started a conversation with Vivian and invited her into a relationship, she's on this webinar, and I just introduced her to other business owners who could benefit from her services. So you don't have to have the referral opportunity the day that you communicate with them. You can just say, I have a desire to refer people back and forth with people that I know, like, and trust in different industries that serve the same clientele that we do. And I'd like for that person to be you if you're interested. Can we have a conversation? And now you get a chance to learn more about their business. And rather than trying to get them to refer people to you, you're interviewing them to see if they qualify for your future referrals. So you're the one that's asking the questions, and you're learning about them and why they should receive your referrals. And then what happens oftentimes is those people will say to you, well, tell me about yourself. So rather than having to go out there and sell yourself to somebody that you are the best person to refer business to, you go out there and get them to sell you on receiving your referrals in the future, because they don't know how many people you have or how many people you don't have. And they'll do a good job of presenting why they're a good referral partner for you. And then they'll ask you about your business. And so now you're just giving people the reasons of why people use you, and you're talking about your business because they asked you, rather than you getting on the phone and trying to sell them on referring business to you. So it's a different relationship. Not everybody wants to do referral marketing, and you don't have to do it. But if you don't have a lot of marketing budget, you might want to think about doing that as a strategy, because it might be a great way to get your business to the next level. And then as you have more profitability and you can invest in marketing, you can start handing off some of that opportunity. And we'll talk more about that in future sessions, but building the referral network is a great strategy. And then the last one is in the area of branding. And as Jeff said, we're not brand experts, but when you think about your brand, the brand is a reflection of what people think about you and what you do or what your business does. So it definitely has a part of your identity. It has an opportunity to be transmitted in the form of a logo, in the design aspects, so that it needs to kind of be the vibe that attracts your tribe. So when you look at your branding, does the branding speak to the vibe that attracts your tribe? Does it stand out? Does it make a representation of who you are and what you stand for? And if you need some touching up on branding, we have experts that are expert brand creators and designers that we can connect you to. But that's a great next step when looking through your marketing. And as we talked about, brand was at the bottom, wasn't at the top. But we hope that you definitely consider your brand when you're looking at your marketing. So if you haven't already taken our free assessment online, growmyprofit.com, there's a business assessment on there. If you'd like to have more conversation, we'd love to have you reach out to us. But thanks for being a part of what it is that we're doing. And Vivian has a question. Do you have a referral code for that? What's your referral code?
Oh, well, I remember you had shown me the BDR.ai.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, so I'm going to look into that. I think it'd be very beneficial for our business. But I'd love for you to get some
Great.
sort of
Yeah.
benefit.
I'll
So I
get you.
wanted to know, do I just give you your name or?
Yeah, I'll get you the follow-up information, and I'll get everybody the resources around BDR.ai so that they have that information. So thanks for
Awesome.
asking that question. All
Yeah.
right, everybody. Hope that this has been helpful. Next week, we're going to be talking about sales systems and really refining your sales systems and processes, about how to move people from suspect to satisfied and referring client and returning client. So excited to have everybody show up next week. We'll also talk about how to scale your sales team and how to build the team underneath you, whether you have sales enablement individuals or SDRs or building a team of sales professionals. So with that being said, congratulations, you made it through session 3. We'll look forward to
Thank
seeing you
you.
next week. Take
Thank
care,
you so
everybody.
much. I appreciate it.
you.
Have a great day.
Bye-bye.